Welcome to Dragonfly Trading. I am one of the elite traders in the New Wave Traders Discord. I want to say thank you to my subscribers for waiting patiently for my next video. I appreciate that. Today's video is going to be on Bitcoin. I'm going to present it in a couple different ways, and hopefully after watching this video today, you will be able to see a clearer picture of what is happening and be able to make your own decisions. We're going to start out on the daily time frame here. And the first thing that I want to point out is there's a big debate on whether the run-up that we've had from the low of the COVID dump here is impulsive or if it's corrective. I can say that I am leaning corrective, even though I think that we are going to have a substantial push up here in the near future. But in the end, I still feel that we have a corrective structure. We will not be able to tell fully until we see what happens after this next push up. But as I'm leaning right now, I'm leaning corrective. This is just my bias. Everybody has their own bias. So what I wanted to point out first is our support zones. We have some light support at 10,900. We have more support at 10,400, and we have major support coming in here starting at around 97 to 9,000. As you can see, we had all this price action here. We have this over here, and also if you look at the VPVR, we have this huge amount of price action volume sticking out here. This is a lot of support coming in for Bitcoin at this area. And we also, on the daily, have our MAs coming into this support area. We have our 50 coming into the 10,900 area. If you go down on the lower time frame to the 8 hours, we have these 200 coming into this support area and the 147 coming into this support area. So coming down here, we have a lot of support. Back to the daily. I want to talk about these two corrections here. They are very, very similar. As you can see, we had this correction like this, correction like this. Then we had a three-wave move to the top, a three-wave move to the top, and now we are in this sideways downward movement. You can see that very clearly, that these corrections are a lot alike. Without getting too technical for the people that don't understand Elliott wave, I have come up with something that will explain it a little easier. This is a flat correction. That's what we call these in the Elliott wave world. As you can see, this came down, came up in a three-wave fashion, and it broke this high. Here, the same thing. It came down with that dump, came up in a three-wave fashion, and broke this high. There's two flats in the Elliott wave technical analysis. There's only two that break the high of the A wave. There's one called a running flat, and there's one called an expanded flat. They both come up into what we call the expanded B pocket. You can rewind this video and look at this more closely. They come up into the 1.382 and the 1.236, both of them. They both break the high of the beginning of the A wave. The difference between the two is one will come to the corrective fib levels, which are the 1-to-1, 1.236, 1.382, and will not break the A, or just very slightly in some cases. The other one, the expanded flat, definitely breaks the bottom of the A. As you can see here, the C wave breaks the bottom of the A. Also with the running flat, it can be very short C. It can come to the 618, 1-to-1, 1.236, but it doesn't break the bottom of the A. So you can rewind the video and look at this more closely, but this is what I wanted to explain about these two corrections. They both are flats. Now this one, if you take a measurement, and you can measure this two different ways, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to measure it this way. This one came to the 618. If you measure it this way, it came to the 1-to-1. We call this a running flat, because it did not break the bottom of this A wave. This initial dump we had, it didn't break it. We just came down and we ran sideways and then took off again. In this scenario, what I'm looking for is we've already broke the 618. I'm looking for this first, the 1-to-1. Then I will be looking for the 1.236, the 1.382. As you can see that we have support there. Worst case scenario, I'm looking to fill the gap. We have a lot of support coming in here. Worst case scenario, I'm looking to fill the gap. But I feel most likely that we'll come down into this area sideways and go up for our last move. And I do think that it is the last move. And I will show you why. Whether this is impulsive and you want to count it as this is a leading diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going up for 5, which will come up into around the $14,000, $15,000 level. Whether you want to count it like this and make it impulsive, we would be ending on a fifth wave and be ready for a bigger correction. Or you want to count it correctively and count it as basically an A, B, C, W, X, Y. Okay? We still need this move up to complete the symmetry of this move. Let's look at some indicators and what I'm looking for. I use the cipher. I use the RSI to look for support. I do not want to break the 40 on the daily. If this comes down further, I do not want to break the 40. If we do, I want to see a fast move up. If you haven't gotten my #1 strategy yet, this is what the TDI indicator is. You can get it in the description below. On my website, it is free. It is a great strategy. On the daily time frame, the TDI is at the bottom. As you can see here, when we took off, we had a great buy signal here. When it came out of the band was your signal to take profit and possibly go short. This indicator is called the wave trend strategy. What I am looking for a signal that this is done and ready to go. As you can see here, when we took off, when we hit this low and we took off here, right here, when we took off, I've marked. This is the daily time frame. What I am looking for is for all time frames to be crossing to the upside. All time frames. As you can see here, the daily crossed and went to the upside. When you move down to the 8-hour, it crossed and was moving to the upside. On the 6-hour, it crossed, moved to the upside. On the 4-hour, same thing. It had made its cross and was moving to the upside. What I'm looking for is all time frames to be crossing and moving to the upside simultaneously. Right now, on the 4-hour, we're curling over. Probably going to have a little correction here, or the correction we're looking for. On the 6-hour, we have a slight little bend. Probably with time, we'll bend over. On the 8-hour, we're straight up, but the lower time frames lead into the bigger time frames. We don't have a bottom curl to the upside and all time frames simultaneously doing that. Right now on the daily, we're coming down. We have a slight little bend, but I need all time frames to have turned, crossed, and moving, crossing to the upside. That's what I'm looking for the signal with this indicator, that this is corrected and is ready to make its last move. Let's go down to a lower time frame and talk about what is happening in the lower time frame. There's two scenarios here that I feel will happen. We are either going to this is either one correction. We're going to make a correction to the upside and then a correction back down into this support area. And that will be the end of it, and we'll be ready to go. Or I believe that we have just one more little move to the downside. One or the other, I feel. This is my bias. That this is part of one correction. We have another correction to go, and then a correction to the downside. Or this is the correction, and we have one more to the downside. I am still looking for one more move to the downside. Now, I'm not going to not take into consideration that we could consolidate here and then go. Make a little wick down into this 1-to-1, consolidate, little wick, consolidate, and then we go. Just like in this other correction. How we came down, we made the little up, and then we just corrected sideways and went. This is what I'm looking for, guys. I wanted to make it as simple as possible to understand. Consider joining the Discord. It's a great Discord. We are like a family in there. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, hit subscribe. Any comment is great. Hit the likes. It's very much appreciated. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I hope everyone catches this move.